I had a great conversation this week with my friend Dave Druin from the bands Cold Engines and Soul Rebel Project. We were recording drums with my buddy AZ, Aaron Zarulis from Cold Engines, for a bunch of their new songs here, and we were talking about life and equipment and all sorts of stuff. And late at night, once everybody left, Dave and I stayed up talking about spirituality and everything. And it started because I was saying that I had to get up early to go play in church. And we had this wonderful conversation, and Dave was saying to me, you know, at this point, I really know that I really don't know anything. We were talking about all the different religions and how he was essentially humble and admitting that, you know, he doesn't know what's going on in this great, big, crazy universe. And I was laughing, saying, well, there's a big difference between the novice who doesn't know or even thinks they know, and someone like himself who spent a lot of years studying and practicing and making music. And he has like an expert humility, and it made me think this week all about that subject of expert humility. So that's what we're going to discuss this week on Earth Tones episode 44. Expert humility. And before we get into it, a clip from our beautiful Earth. This is Belle and Sebastian. Scarlett and I went and saw them on Tuesday night at the Orpheum, and this is right before their encore. The crowd was requesting a bunch of songs, and this is what they had to say.
No, this is a pretty apt one to finish. Yeah. Can you help me out? It's an apt one to finish, and it's not political, but it's got an edge. I just want to say, because we're not getting political tonight. We're not, no way. I just want to say, this is an affirmation. We rocked into Boston. We're on the subway, we're in the supermarket, everybody's amazing. People are amazing. Just in case you didn't know what your country was like in the eyes of foreigners, we don't believe any of that shit. This is your country. You are fucking amazing.
So that is Stuart from Belle and Sebastian. I liked that message saying, we're not going to get political, but just want to let you know that you guys are great. Don't worry about what everybody's saying about you. Everybody is struggling with different things these days. There's financially difficult things. There's, of course, violence across the world. There's many different things and a lot of different perspectives on what we should do about it. And it's nice to hear someone from another country say, look, you guys as people and everyone here that we've met are all really cool. And that's what matters. So, yes, Belle and Sebastian, we had a great time. For a bit of old news, I figured I would talk about what they were doing, which was playing the entire Tiger Milk album. And Tiger Milk, for a bit of old news, was released 30 years ago next week, about a week or two from now. So 30 years ago exactly, Tiger Milk, the Belle and Sebastian debut album, was released. 1996. They were great. They played 2 nights at the Orpheum. We went to the first night, and incredible. Really incredible band. So much joy and fun and laughter. People having a good time. And everybody was just really into it and singing along and having a good time. So that is my wife's favorite band. We went for her birthday, and we enjoyed it quite a bit. All right, for episode 44, Expert Humility. Here it is. A beginner learns a little and thinks he knows a lot. Soon he will reach the peak of Mount Stupid before descending into the Valley of Despair. We're talking, of course, about the Dunning-Kruger effect. The beginner doesn't know what he doesn't know, and so he thinks he knows. And of course, reality sets in and he comes crashing down. Oh no, he actually knows very little. In fact, he only barely knows what he doesn't know. Oh no! So he's in the valley of despair. How to proceed? Suddenly it occurs to him it would take several lifetimes to accomplish what he was quite sure he was just about to do. And if he doesn't quit, and he might quit, he pauses. He takes inventory of himself, his work, and the practice. He recommits himself. He makes an adjustment. He proceeds along the long slope of enlightenment. Now he knows a little, and there is so much to learn, but he knows enough to keep going. Enough to keep going, enough to make music, enough to stay in the game. We learn what our strengths are, what is unique about our work. We can't do what others do. We can only do what we do. If we have an idea about what that is, we can refine it. We can get better, and we can make our work. So I think between the Stephen Pressfield books I've been reading / listening to, and the Seth Godin The Practice, all about shipping creative work, I've been really invested in the idea of resistance and what are we doing to get the things done that we know in our hearts we want to do. As my friend Dan Pallotta I've heard say, to make sure you don't die with the music still inside you, that you've expressed those songs throughout your life and you've gotten them out there into the world to have a life of their own. And when we're doing that, then we don't really care about world domination and what it all means for our career. If we're making music and we're shipping, as Seth Godin says, then we're doing what our heart wants us to do, which is to actually make the thing. And I think it takes that expert humility because there's a lot of difficulty in wanting to make something. And there's this wonderful Ira Glass quote where he talks about how hard it is when you have good taste because you love the craft, but you can't make things as good as the things that you like. And you're in that in-between part where you can't make the stuff that you want to make. And I've dealt with that for my whole adult life, is really wanting to make cool music that I hear in my head that I think is groovy and awesome, and then it comes out and I make it and I get together with people, I try to make it happen, and it doesn't come out the way that I want. I'm learning also that my perception of it isn't always fair. Sometimes people tell me that they resonate with something that I thought didn't go very well. And I remember having had a great conversation with a teacher when I was in high school. And my teacher said, look, you can't know how another person perceives your music, so don't project onto them what you think about your music. Let them experience it for themselves, which I think is cool. So yeah, for a musical demonstration, I'm thinking about playing what it is that you like and you vibe to what is essentially yours. So if I think about, something that feels characteristically me, I've got a riff that I'm working on right now that's like... And I feel like that feels like something that I was playing along to a drum groove. It was actually something that you wouldn't expect to go with this. It was like a sample of Ginger Baker playing on some Cream song. I forget what it was, which song it was. But I had that from this app called Drum Genius, and I was just jamming along. I think I sped it up or something, or slowed it down. Somehow I changed it. And when you're playing something that's your own thing, I know that that's not, everything else. It's not everything that somebody else would do, but I can make music, and I know that I want to get better. I want to make more different, more evolved music. But I think we have to take inventory of what we can do and be happy that, okay, well, that's a riff, and yeah, it's repetitive and everything else, but it can grow into a song, and we can get out of that valley of despair of thinking, I don't know so much. I'm not Jimi Hendrix, or I'm not, somebody that you might want to be like. Yeah, but you have what you have, and that doesn't mean you shouldn't be making music all the while. I was talking to a student this week, and he was saying, I hope I can be persistent enough to get to the point where I can really improve. And I was saying, you got to enjoy making music the whole time, because the more you learn, the more you realize you don't know, but you want to be able to look back and say, well, I was jamming out the whole time. We were rocking, even if we weren't any good for a while, So, what's on the turntable this week? This is a weird album. It is called Music from Free Creek. Bizarre. Cover from Hipgnosis, legendary Hipgnosis, that made all sorts of psychedelic and wonderful album covers in the 70s. It's got a semi-nude man in chains, which I guess wouldn't be my first pick, but it is pretty interesting. There's an eagle. I saw it in the record shop, and I was like, well, you know what I did? I grabbed it, and I picked it up, and I said to the guy who owned the store, I said, this has to either be amazing or truly awful to justify having this album cover. It is a super session album, meaning it's got a bunch of artists from big bands. I didn't even realize there's a hole in it. This is a punch out. I didn't even realize it because it was in a plastic. Yeah, this is a for DJ only. Could not be sold at retail. Didn't even realize that. There's the punch right there. So it's awesome. Is it as awesome as that cover implies that it should be? I'm not sure, but it's an extremely wacky thing that I've never heard anyone talk about. There is Jeff Beck, Eric Clapton, Keith Emerson, Linda Ronstadt, all sorts of people on this album. It was recorded at the Record Plant in 1969. It's essentially some superstar folks jamming, but they do a bunch of interesting songs. They do like Sissy Strut, which would have come out recently from the Meters when that came out. They do like Freedom Jazz Dance, and Jeff Beck and Eric Clapton go under like pseudonyms because they couldn't release, this music because of, those guys were superstars at the time. So Jeff Beck is credited as Other, as if it's like another guitar player, and Eric Clapton is titled King Cool. Yeah. King Cool, I believe, is Eric Clapton. And there's a bunch of heavy people that are on this. It actually is good. It's cool. I had never heard a single person ever talk about it until I saw that in the record store up in Portland, Maine. Love it. Something that helped me this week, believe it or not, running. I've been running. Scarlett and I are training for a 5K, and I had been getting shin splints and stuff in the past, so I really took it slow. And this week I was like, you know what, I'll just increase it. And my friend Kevin, he posts about running marathons. He ran a half marathon the other day after a gig. I was like, man, I just got to try to get it happening. So I started with a mile. Now that I'm up to a mile, I did a mile for a couple days. And now today I did 2 miles. So it's going pretty good. Scarlett added an additional 5K next week. We were training for this 5K that's like 3 weeks from now. And she's like, let's do another one. Let's do one next week too. Oh, goodness. All right, friends, that is episode 44, Earth Tones. Thank you for listening. My name is Jake Pardee. For more info about me and my music, you can go to jakepardee.com. Please subscribe and like and share with all of your friends. Please send me some Earth sounds if things are going on for you that sound cool. Send me a 1-minute audio clip of some kind. Visit maritimerecording.com for you and your music and something we could do together. An audiobook or your band wants to come through and record or rehearse or do all sorts of stuff. I'm Jake Pardee signing off, reminding you, as always, that we are a beautifully musical species on a fantastically musical planet, and I will see you again next time for episode 45.